Hello there, guys. This is Prabhu from bloggersbooks.com. Welcome to another episode of Bloggers Books. If you guys do not know already, Bloggers Books is a website that helps bloggers to write blogs and earn money online. So if you want anything related to blogging, then you can go to my website and visit it, and probably you'll get the help you are seeking for. I have put my efforts into it. Hopefully, you will like it, and all the articles that have been written so far, hopefully it helps. If it doesn't, let me know. I'll try to modify them. I'll try to improvise. So today we are going to talk about how to install WordPress on our local machine. WordPress is a software where we build blogs with, and it's free, and you can have a website up and running in very few investment. It's pretty easy. So everyone normally prefers to go with WordPress. There are big websites like news websites and government websites which are running in WordPress as well. So today I'm going to talk about how to install WordPress on our local machine, because when you start a website, you have no idea how to build the website, how it will look and all that. So if you have it in your local machine, then probably you'll start having an idea of how your website should look like. You can start designing. But when you have a server, you cannot do all those things because you are paying money for that, right? So today I'll cover that, and specifically I'll cover how to install WordPress using WAMP server. That's a software that we use to act like a server in a machine, and I'll talk about how to install those two uh, in a Windows machine. I have another video that is specific for Mac systems, and today I'll just talk about Windows system, how to install the software in a Windows system. So if you go to wampserver.com then /n, that's just for the English version of the website. So you just go to that, and then you will see start using WAMP server. That's the server that will act like a server. What we have here will act like a server. So this is a Windows 64-bit machine. I'll just go ahead with the 64-bit version of it. If you have a 32-bit machine, then you have to go with this option here. And you can go ahead with 64-bit. I'll just go ahead with 64. Before you go to install WAMP server, just make sure that you install this here. What you have for C++, this is a C++ package that needs to be installed on your machine, just to make sure that WAMP server is perfectly up and running. So just go to this and download this software to your machine. If your machine is 64-bit, you can go ahead with this option. If your machine is 32-bit, you can go ahead with this option. These two are normally preferred depending on your system requirement, whether it is 64-bit or 32-bit. So I have already installed on my machine, so I'll just this is how the software looks like. This is the software that I had downloaded. So that's the software you need to install before you can have WAMP server up and running. Once you download that, then just go back and click this link. This link will take you to sourceforce.net, which will help you to download the software, download WAMP server to your machine. So this is how it will take just 5 seconds, I think, to download. Depending on your network, it will take time. So I have already downloaded it here. I'll just go ahead and install. Once you download in your machine, you have to install the software. I'll just go ahead with the installation so that you can know what are the options to choose while having the installation. Once you click on a double click or right click run as admin, if you do not have admin access on your machine, it will ask for you a prompt. You just have to click on yes on that, then go ahead with accepting everything as always. I do have a uh, I do have a folder inside my C apps just to make sure that the software installation is done inside WAMP. So I have created a folder called WAMP. So I'll just remove all this that have been provided previously by default, and I'll go ahead with the software to be installed on the folder I have created. So it is C apps WAMP, right? So inside that there will be a folder WAMP64, inside which WAMP servers components will be installed. So if you need a different name, then you can give it here. I'll just go ahead with WAMP server instead of 64. It makes more sense. So I'll just go ahead with WAMP server, next, and click on install. It'll take some time to install, so by the time it installs, I'll just pause the recording. Once the installation is complete or it asks for any prompt, I'll resume the recording and explain how it needs to be done. So once it installs a WAMP server completely, then it'll ask for the default browser. Normally in my machine, it is Internet Explorer. If in your machine it is Google Chrome, then you can change it. So see, I do not want to change my default settings from Internet Explorer, but I want Google Chrome to be used by WAMP at least when I'm using WAMP, right? So I can do this by clicking on yes here, and you have to select from where you have your Google Chrome exe. It is normally inside this folder C program files 86 Google Chrome, and inside that the application. Then click on chrome.exe and open it. That will set the Google Chrome as default browser for WAMP particularly, not for your whole system. Now, the editor, normally I prefer Notepad++ over Notepad, but if you are fine with Notepad, it's fine. If you do not have Notepad++, you can install Notepad++ from internet, and since I have already installed, I'll just change the default editor. So how you can do it is go to C, then Program Files, then search for Notepad. Sorry, it is Program Files 86, and then search for Notepad++. Inside that, go and click on the exe and open it. That will set Notepad++ as the default text editor for WAMP server. So now it should complete and it will install all the necessary softwares like databases and PHP, Apache, and all that it will install. It should start, it should be starting like it should start, WAMP server should start on its own without any intervention. If it does not, then you just go ahead and search for WAMP. You will see WAMP Server 64 here as a program. Just try to run it. If it asks for any prompts, click on yes. And once you do that, it should come in your taskbar in your this area. And see there is a trick here. If your machine has IIS installed, that is a Windows component which uses to host websites. If your machine has IIS installed, then it will not work. It will not turn green. Until it turns green, you cannot use WAMP server to install WordPress, right? So that's just how WAMP server works. And if you see here, it says that one of two services running. All the services need to be running to make sure that WAMP server is working perfectly, right? So the thing is, if your machine has IIS installed, then it will not work because all the softwares that you install to host a website looks for the port 80. But if your machine has IIS installed, if it is a Windows machine and has IIS installed, then 80 port is already taken, right? And 80 port is used by IIS. How you can check it is if you right click on it, then go to WAMP settings. Sorry, you have to go to, I think, tools. You have to go to tools, and in that tools, you should be able to see. Just a second, I need this. If you go to tools, then you will see that there are two options: taste port 80, and the other option is use a port other than 80. So I'll just go ahead and show you whether how 80 port is being used. So if you can see, once it tests the port whether it is being used by WAMP server or a different software, it already says that it is used by Microsoft IIS 7.5, which is installed on my machine. So you cannot use 80 port for WAMP server, which is why it is not turning green. So you can go to tools and then use a port other than 80. Normally I go ahead with 8080. You can choose whatever you want. I'll just go ahead with 8080 and click on OK. Once you do that, you will see that it turns green. Means all the services are running perfectly without an issue. Just single click on it just to verify that everything is working fine. Just single click on it and restart all the services just to make sure that things are working out without an issue, right? So it'll take some time to make all the services, restart all the services. Once it does, then how you can verify is just go ahead with localhost, visit localhost. You should be able to see all the softwares and all the components that have been installed on your machine, and it should not be an issue for you to identify if there is anything wrong, because this is how the normal procedure works. And if you have installed WAMP server perfectly without, like, the process how I showed, if you have installed in that process, it will work without any issue. We'll just make sure that everything is working fine. We'll just go to PHP MyAdmin as well. PHP MyAdmin is where your database is installed. Normally, the PHP MyAdmin will have root as your username, and the password will be null because it is your local machine. You don't necessarily need a password. So this is how the configuration is. It has installed Apache 2.4.23, Windows 64, and PHP 5.6.25 version. You can upgrade the version, but for now I would suggest you to stay with 5.6 because there are some software, some themes which do not really support 5.7 of PHP. So just go ahead with this one. If you need later on, you can improvise anyways. So phpMyAdmin is working, localhost is working, and the www directory is where you need to have all your like your website needs to be inside this folder to make sure that it is working. So www is that folder, and these are some of the Apache options. You can see the Apache error log here. You can see the PHP settings and extensions that have been enabled here. PHP error log also gets logged here. This is MySQL. You can go to PHP MyAdmin directly, or you can come to MySQL, and then in the service administration you can restart or stop the service. MySQL settings also you can see it from here. So this also has all the logs. This is for all the services. If you right click on this, then you will get to see all the tools that have been used. You can restart all this. These are the options that have been given by WAMP server to make sure that WAMP server is perfectly running. This is something WAMP settings that is specific to the WAMP installation that you have done, and these are the languages that WAMP server supports and refreshes just to make sure that all the services that have been installed on your machine are working perfectly without an issue. So that's just about it. That's how WAMP server gets installed. I'll show you now how to install WordPress after your a WAMP server installation is perfect. This is how you check it. You check your local host is coming up fine with the port. You check your phpMyAdmin, the database is coming fine without an issue. Means WAMP server installation is complete. Now you have to make sure that you are installing WordPress and it is compatible with the install that you have done for WAMP server. So I'll just show how it is done. Just bear with me. You have to download WordPress from here. You just go to wordpress.org, go to download WordPress, and then download WordPress 4.7.1. Whatever the latest version is, you just download it. I've already downloaded it. I'll just show you how it is done, how you can install WordPress and make it compatible to run with the local installation of your WAMP server. So guys, as I was saying that once you have your WAMP server installation complete, then you have to make sure that WordPress is installed on your machine, which is compatible with the version of WAMP server that you have installed. So you have to go to WordPress and then download the software from here, clicking on download WordPress. Currently the version is 4.7.1. So whatever would be the latest version, you have to download that. It will be downloaded into your machine as a zip file, and as I was saying, that you have to put it inside your www folder because that's where it looks for the website. That's where you have to unzip the WordPress folder. Normally when you go to unzip it, it'll have all the details. This is a zip version, as I was saying. Then just unzip it to your machine, somewhere in your machine where you have complete access. So I'll just let it uninstall. sorry, let it unzip, and then once it unzips, then I'll put it inside the folder WAMP where WAMP server is installed, and inside that www is the folder where inside which you need to put the WordPress install, so that you know it gets installed and compatible with the WAMP server installation. So this is the WordPress folder, guys, and I'll just cut it and put it here inside the www folder again. The next step to make sure it works perfectly is you have to rename the WordPress folder, because that is what your site is going to be named, right? So let's say if you want your site to be amazing site, right? So let's for an example, let's take it amazing. So that's the website name I have given. Once you rename it, all you have to do is click on here, then restart all the services just to pick up all the changes that you have made inside the www folder. You have to restart all the services, make sure it is green. Once it is green, just go back to the home page and refresh it, and you should see your project here. Amazing. Actually, when you go to the server installation, when you have a server where you can install, you do not need to click this. You do not need to go to this and then browse your project. But since this is a local installation, you'll have to browse this project. So your URL would be localhost 8080 port is what we have configured, right? So the 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 project URL would be localhost 8080, and after that just add your project name. If I have given amazing, so I'll just go ahead with amazing, and after that just click hit on enter. It should browse to your website. It should, without any having issues, it should go to your WordPress install. So this is what it should come to: amazing WP admin setup config, because the configuration file is not already set up. It If you go to the www folder, and inside this, if you see, there is no WP config file. That is normally a file which helps your blog run successfully without any issues, being compatible with WAMP, connecting to the database and all that. So if you have seen here, then there is no database. These are the normal databases that is created by default when PHP is installed. So you have to config this. You have to make the configuration changes to make sure that it works fine. So I'll go ahead with English United States. Click on continue. It will take you to the next step. As it says here, you have to make sure that you are aware of the changes, like you are aware of database name, username, password, and database host, and the table prefix if you want to use more than one databases. So normally you have to make sure that all the databases and every information that is required is you have it ready with you, right? So I'll just go and eventually I'll explain. So the database name is normally what you have databases here. Normally, like once you install your WAMP server, all you have to do is make sure that these databases are by default. So make sure that these databases you have, just to make sure that the installation is perfect, as I was explaining last time. So here you can create a database name. So there is before you give the database name, I would like to give you a view of how you should give the database name. Normally, when you give a database name, it should have your site name. That is a naming convention. Like when you create a theme, let's say you are creating a theme, or you want to sell the website. So there are certain things which you need to take care, the naming conventions, and how you name your tables and all that makes a lot of sense, and that makes a lot of difference when you're selling this. So your database name always should contain your site name. So let's say I have given amazing, right? So I'll just take the first three letters of the site, right? And after that, you're supposed to give three numbers, just to there are some attacks, right? If your server is getting attacked, or someone attacks your website, someone tries to hack your website, just to avoid that, make sure that you are taking three letters of your site, then four numbers, anything it could be. So I'll just go ahead with 8256. this is arbitrarily anything it could be. So once you do that, then put another 2 letters of your another 3 letters of your site, and the collation is normally it should be UTF-8 general CI. That's just to make your database compatible with most of the hosts. So I'll just go ahead and create it. And yeah, as you can see, it is already created here. The database name is AMA8256 INZ. So here in the database name field, give that name. Username is, as I was telling, it is always root for your local installation. There is no password. If you want, you can change the password and put it here, but there is not that is not required. Localhost, that's the database host because you are installing in your local WordPress, that is WAMP server. So there is no other database host than this one. And the table prefix, normally with all the WordPress installations it is WP underscore, so it is easy for the hacker to guess what is your database installation, what is your table prefix, because by default it is WP underscore. If you do not change it, then there is a high chance that your site could be like it's dangerous, right? So in order to have the table prefix, what I suggest is, instead of WP, just remove, have 2 letters, 2 starting letters of your website, like starting or ending or anything. I normally go ahead with 2 starting letters, and then 6 single digits of anything, like any arbitrary number for 6 digits, and after that another 2 letters, let's say again, let's say IN or something. So this cannot be guessed, right? These numbers are very arbitrarily selected, these 6 numbers, and it cannot be guessed. So after that, you just click on submit. Once you do, if everything is correct, it should say that all right, everything is all right, and you should run the install. After that, if you run the install, WordPress will try to create all the tables and respective changes that it need to make to the database. It will make sure that everything is made. And then let's say that you have to fill in the information. This is how WordPress works. So I'll just give amazing blog. Username is let's say amazing user, and this is the password, and it normally comes by default, so you cannot really change. If you want, you can change it, but I normally go ahead with whatever the default password is because it says strong. So we do not really need anything, and you can give your uh, email here just to make sure that whatever mails the installations, which is not required, but just to make sure, just in case you forgot the email ID or password or anything, then you can use this. So, and make sure to select this one, discourage search engines from indexing this site, because if your local host of the website starts indexing in Google, then you will have a major problem later on. So just select this and then click on install WordPress. That's how you should do it. That's the ideal way of WordPress installation. Once you do that, it won't ask for anything, but it will directly go to the installation page, login page. And if you go here and if you refresh, then you would see that all the things that you have required, all the things that are required by WordPress is already installed, right? And you have copied the password somewhere safe. You have to copy the password somewhere safe. Once you have the login page, put it. I'll just click on remember me just in case if it like I do not need to put the password every time, right? So that's done. Amazing, right? That's your website done. Installation is complete. WordPress installation is complete, and WAMP server installation is also complete, right? So that is how your if you see the site, it should load fine without an issue. This is the 2017 theme, which I like very much. Uh, so yeah, as I was saying, once you do that, once you log in, it should work perfectly without an issue. Your WordPress installation is right now complete, and your WAMP server installation is complete. Both the versions are compatible with each other. WordPress 4.7.1 and WAMP server that you have installed is running fine. They are compatible with each other. Now you can install themes or design your site or make changes, whatever you need, you can do it without any hassle, because this is the correct way of installation. I have seen a lot of videos in YouTube which they suggest a lot of other things to do. Um, Probably it might work out for you, but it didn't work out for me. I thought this is the simplest way to install WordPress and WAMP server in your machine, which works like which works amazingly without an issue. So this is the simplest way. Hope you will be able to install WordPress on your machine with this simplified process. If you do not, if you are having an issue, then feel free to contact me. I'll help you out. You can drop a mail at prabhu@bloggersbooks.com, and if in give it a thumbs up if it works out for you, and if it doesn't, make a comment in YouTube. I'll get back to you, or drop me an email, or comment in my site. I'll get back to you. Hope you liked this video. Hope it video helped, and hope you can start your website and blog soon. Eat well, sleep well, stay safe, take care.